Good morning, boys and girls. This is Mr. Keris, and today I'm going to take you through my art book to choose one of our many guided drawings that we can do together. So let's have a quick look through my art book. I have a few of these books, and many of my students have spent a long time going through them with me and developing artworks in them. So there's lots and lots of things that we can do together in here. This is a nice one that we might come back to soon. Turtles are always fun. We've got artworks in here for younger children and older children and adults that like to do art for fun as well. I've got one in mind, so let's go through it till we find it. These are lovely. Pete Cromer's artworks, a Melbourne artist. I'm thinking something like this today. The Candy Shop Milkshake has always been a popular artwork with students that I've worked with. I've got some smiley face markers on my desk today to help me make sure my paper's not too far out of the picture. So I'm going to start with the milkshake glass today, and I'm going to be drawing just with an ordinary lead pencil. This one is a HB pencil, but as I always say, it doesn't matter too much what you have at home. You just make do with what you've got, because art is all about having fun. Now, you'll notice that when I'm drawing, I like to move my paper rather than my hand, because if you move your paper and your hand is in a comfortable position, you'll find your lines are a lot smoother. Very different. Every time I draw, my drawings are different. I don't try and create the same picture twice, and you don't have to create the same picture as me either. This is the basic shape of the milkshake that we're going with. There are 3 glass panels as well. All of my lines on this drawing are quite curved, so you won't be needing a ruler. Won't need to be too straight. All of the edges are curved or beveled. Always be happy to bring out a rubber if you make a mistake. I've taught a lot of children art over the years, and I know the instinct of a lot of children is, if I make a mistake, to tear it out or throw it in the bin. But I always like to encourage students that if you make a mistake, the best thing to do is to rub it out or work with that mistake, because mistakes sometimes take your picture in a direction you never would have gone in before. And we aren't computers, so we aren't perfect and we don't draw perfectly. But that's what makes art interesting and beautiful and fun. And one day, when you're older, you'll look back at children's artwork and go, oh, I wish I could draw like that again. That's so cool. When did I lose my creativity and imagination and even the ability to take a risk? Because sometimes as adults, we don't take as many risks as kids, and we don't draw as innocently and with so much fun. So don't be afraid of your mistakes. Don't be afraid to use a rubber, but sometimes just accept them and live with them. This is a Kawaii style of drawing. K-A-W-A-I-I. Kawaii. And it's a Japanese style of art, and it basically is the Japanese word for cute. So this part will all be black. These parts will be white. These parts can be a colour. These will be pink. The cup can be any colour you like. Now, I'm going to draw some scoops of ice cream. I'm going to start on the edges and then just like little waves to fill in between. And then bring it up, but not draw the top, because I don't want to use my rubber. I'd rather try and draw it freehand and the first time. So now I'm going to add the topping. May like to add this little decal, a little heart. So I'm not rubbing it out. It looks good. If you can plan your drawing and know what you want in the front, what you want in the behind, and what you want in the middle, then you can plan your drawing carefully and you won't need to use your rubber as much. So there's a little heart here, and again, I'll just draw it as an example. And that way it's going behind. This one I'm going to make choc chips, similar to the first time I drew it. There's bunches of toppings you can add to your ice cream. You don't have to draw anything like me. And now I'm going to draw some cream or some frosting. And I'm starting with this little like teardrop shape. And then I'll curl it around like that. I know that's tricky to draw, but teardrop and then like a little wave, and then just sort of like this. Might do one more. I don't know what I was thinking there. I could rub that out, but I'll live with it. I mean, when you use a little pipette or squeezy for toppings, it doesn't always come out perfectly. It's interesting. I might add a strawberry or something there later, but I will add a strawberry here. And so I'll start with the top and then draw the green, and then draw the seeds, which could be more teardrop shaped, but it's not perfect. It doesn't have to be. I'll add a wafer over here. A little chocolate wafer. And a donut, why not? A little donut. And I'm just going to add the icing from about here. Maybe even add a second part to it there. And I might do circle sprinkles. Now you'll have to forgive my pencil grip, boys and girls. I should be holding my pencil like this, and I can, but ever since I was little, I did not hold my pencil the way I am meant to. I've always got a terrible pencil grip, so don't copy my pencil grip. Your teachers would not be impressed. We can add some little drips of icing or ice cream. You can add a little mess. And if you'd like to write candy and you want to try some bubble writing, I'll just do this with you. So C A N D Y, and you could just thicken some lines. It's just an easy way to bubble write. You don't have to do it like that. You don't even have to write candy. It's just an idea for you. You could write Candy Shop. S H O P. You'll have to forgive my fancy writing. I know it's not the correct font that you would be learning in your state. I live in Queensland, so we have a Queensland handwriting font, which looks nothing like this, but it's fancy writing. So we can use fancy writing for things like birthday cards or artworks. When it comes to colouring in, use whatever it is you like, whether that is colouring pencils, your textures or pens, your oil pastels, perhaps watercolour paints, which are very messy, or crayons. And I'm going to show you a technique that I really enjoy using, which is called, I call it layering colour, and I always teach my students how to do this. So if you want your art to look really neat, and you don't want lots of lines in your colouring, you can start with something like a crayon and then go over it with a texture. So that's the crayon, and then it doesn't matter what sort of texture it is. You can go over it, and what happens is the crayon starts you off and the texture fills in all the little spots that the crayon missed. And it's pretty effective and pretty neat. So you colour in your ice cream, your sundae, whatever colours you like. Obviously different colours are different flavours. So brown, what colour would that be, do you think? What's a brown ice cream flavour? Did I hear chocolate or caramel or cookie dough perhaps? Chocolate chip. So they're all brown flavours. Blue, what flavour do you think blue might be? Bubblegum, blueberry, things like that. And what colour would pink be? If you had a pink ice cream, what flavour would that be? Cotton candy, strawberry, raspberry, those sorts of flavours. And if you had a yellow ice cream, what would that one be? Banana. Yep. Or maybe caramel. I do like to go over all my pencil lines in Texta. If you'd like to do that as well, you'll find that the effect is really bright. It really stands out. These are little Kawaii cutie pie eyes. A lot of kids enjoy drawing these. You can add them to any of your pictures. They're just really simple. And these are the cheeks, which you don't have to trace with black. You can use whatever you have. I've got a mixture of things on my desk. Now I did use a connector pen. If I wanted to use watercolour paint, I have to be really careful near a water marker, because if I put water near that, it will actually dissolve the texture, which looks a bit like watercolour. So I'm not going to do that, but I just wanted to show you that it's perfectly fine to use whatever you have around the house. Now this is a really cheap watercolour set. I'm pretty sure I paid about $2 for this at Kmart. It came with a different brush, but I didn't like the brush, but the paint itself is fine. So if you'd like to experiment with some watercolour paint with your picture, and if you're able to get a set of watercolour paint, you won't regret it. They're great fun. A lot of kids look at them initially and go, how does that work? They're so dry. Yeah, they are. They're really dry when you first get them. And you just add a little bit of water to your brush and you mix it onto the palette, and then it liquefies the paint. And there's lots you can do with them. You can blend colours together. You can dissolve them into the paper. So that's what I've sort of done here. I've just created like a light blue that's dissolved into the background. If I wanted to mix another colour into it, maybe I'll go a darker blue. I'll just show you. And I can mix them. It's very subtle, but I could be more brave and mix like a purple into it or a pink. Try not to mix your colours on your palette though, because then you'll have to wipe it with a tissue and you waste a bit of paint that way. It's better just to mix it on the paper. This is just ordinary art paper. It's not watercolour paper. You can use them. They're really good, but they're a bit more expensive, and I like to try and make art as cheap as I can, and especially because I teach a lot of children and we don't always have heaps of art supplies at school. We make do with what we have and we improvise, and that's what you can definitely do if you're doing some art at home as well. So I'm just experimenting there. I've used a watercolor, a water-based texture, an alcohol-based texture, which is a Sharpie permanent marker. I've used this sort of texture. I've used a lead pencil. I've used a blue crayon, and I've used a bit of watercolor paint. So that's all I wanted to show you today, boys and girls. I wanted to show you how you can use different materials and how you can explore and experiment with your sundaes. Before I go, I will quickly show you a few more examples. Here we go, some different donut ideas. That's from Kids Art Hub, great channel if you haven't seen it before. And there's some lots of topping ideas that I just saved from Pinterest. And the Candy Shop idea, I think I got that from Google Images, probably from Pinterest as well. So there's tons of ideas out there to explore and experiment some kawaii style, food, cute drawings. I hope you're having a wonderful week and be creative, have fun, and I'll see you again soon. This is Mr. Karras. Bye.